My mom, like after I was done, she's like, "Oh, you seem like a new person now." She's like, "You're smiling more. Like you don't look grumpy." And I'm just like, "Well, I don't have anything to be grumpy about anymore. I have free time. I can I do whatever I want."
Let's welcome our next guest who just recently passed the CPA exam.
My name is Tasha Robinson. I live in the Metro DC area, and I am an audit associate in my second year at Grant Thornton.
How did you study for the CPA exam?
I used what my friend provided me, which was Becker, and I only used Becker. I didn't use any supplemental things. I also did their final review for two of the tests. I mostly focused on multiple choice. I went through everything, like they said, the lectures, the skill practice, um, and the mock exams. Um, per day, I would try and study about 2 to 3 hours. Um, and I would also try and follow the Becker study plan that they have. So when they said you can do 2 modules per week, so I would do that. Um, and then I would try and study every day, but give myself an off day, like every 3 days. So kind of like 2 days a week, I would just have an off day and try and relax and then focus on what was going to be happening the next day.
How did you manage the study time?
Managing my time was kind of difficult at first. Um, when I first started studying, I was in my last semester of my grad school. So I had already went through a semester where it was just nonstop studying. So it kind of was an easy transition to study and then not really have like much of a social life. But there was a lot of times where I just had to turn down events and say like, "Oh, I can't go to the hockey game because I have to study. I have a test next week." Um, but it took a lot of like understanding uh, from like family and friends that like this I'm during this period of time like I'm like unavailable, so don't schedule anything here. And what really got me through the times where I was missing things, like, okay, there's going to be a time where I can be free and join everything. So it was good to manage my time that way. I definitely did make sure, though, that when I was studying, that I did have time, to maybe hang out with a few friends every now and then because I told myself I just cannot sit in my apartment by myself after weeks, months after months, just not like enjoying anything because then it would just be miserable for myself and then that would carry into me studying and then taking the exam.
What was the most difficult section for you?
I would say FAR was the most difficult for me just because when I first looked at that book and saw how thick it was compared to the other books, and I was just like, okay, this is going to be a little challenging. Um, I did have to retake that one time, so I felt definitely that that was the most difficult one, just because the amount of material that's in that section, and then just trying to figure out how they can combine all of that information just into a 4-hour test.
Did you take any CPA exam sections during the busy season?
No, I specifically told myself I was going through my first busy season, and I said I just want to see how busy season is going to go first. Um, and if push came to shove, if I had to test during next busy season, I don't think I still would have done it. Just because busy season can just kind of take a toll, especially if like you're working until 9 o'clock or so, and maybe even later for some people. Um, you don't want to come home and just say, "Oh, well, let me do an hour of studying," because your brain is kind of already fried from all the work papers you've had to look at, the meetings you've had all day. So I just said, well, after this season is over, I'll focus back on studying.
In what order did you take the CPA exam?
I took audit, then I took FAR, then I took reg, and then BEC. I started off with audit because I had just finished my Master of Accounting degree, and we took a semester long audit course. So I felt that that was better for me to start off with, and I felt that I was stronger in audit, even though the score didn't really reflect it, but at least it was a passing score. Um, And so then I said, well, I'm about to have the summer off before I start full time. So I said, well, I'll start studying for FAR. Just I can have like the full days, focus just on FAR. And then it was a toss between going to reg or BEC, but most people had said BEC was the easiest one. So I just put that one off for last, just, relax myself a little bit. Well, BEC, they say it was easy, but sometimes it can be a little confusing because it seems like it's a lot of different topics mixed into just a test. So it kind of seems like it's leftovers from all of the other exams. But it just took a lot of like reading and trying to understand, just, get a good score on that.